Hi, I'm Natsume and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. So I've been a fan of anime for the past few years and I thought to myself, instead of keeping all these ideas and thoughts about anime inside of my head, why not talk about them in the form of a review? And so that's why I'm here. So my first review is about Weathering with You, a movie that has been talked about for quite some time now since it came out, and everyone has either seen it or has been wanting to see it as far as I know. Weathering with You, I had the pleasure of watching just recently. I've been wanting to watch it for quite some time, and once it was finally released in my country, I got the first ticket and went. I had to go. It was a one-time screening and I couldn't miss it. So, if you didn't know, Weathering with You was released in July 2019 and is by Makoto Shinkai. It tells the story of a boy called Hodaka who runs away from home to Tokyo and meets with a girl called Hina who has this strange ability to change the weather. I was very interested in the story from the beginning. I thought it'd be very interesting to watch. I have seen a few of Makoto Shinkai's works already, including Your Name, a movie that's been talked about for quite some time and I loved. I've seen it multiple times. 5 centimeters per second and The Garden of Words. They were all great movies, so I had very high expectations for Weathering with You and I was not disappointed at all. One thing that I've always noticed with Makoto Shinkai's movies are the gorgeous animation style, and it was the same in Weathering with You. It was beautiful. Every little detail was stunning. Weathering with You is set in a rainy Tokyo, so a lot of the scenes contained rain, and the way that Makoto Shinkai animated it was gorgeous. I didn't know rain could look so pretty before that. And then there's the scenes when Hina brings out the sun, and it's like a pop of color in a world of darkness, and I really liked that. The scenery is also a big feature in Weathering with You. If you took a picture of Tokyo and then compared it to a shot from the movie, you could really see how similar they are. The way that it was directed with such immense detail was really captivating and made you really love the movie. Another thing I loved was the beautiful character design. Each character has their own quirks and traits, and that's shown in the way that they look and the way they act and the movements. So like I previously said, the storyline revolves around a girl called Hina who has the ability to change the weather and bring the sun in a rainy Tokyo. When I heard the story, I was completely taken aback. I've never experienced a story quite like this, and I was very excited to see what it was going to be like. I think in the modern day, we see so many similar stories about boy meets girl, or going back in the past, or a bad boy and a good girl coming together. We don't see many different stories now, but this I've never seen done before, and I was really happy that they brought such an original story and made it into this movie. So the way it works is that Hodaka decided to make a job out of Hina's power in order for them to get some cash since they were all needing some money. And Hina reluctantly agreed. And everyone started to know about Hina's power, which they spread online. And people started requesting jobs from her. And she ended up using her power for good. And so she was known as the Sunshine Girl who could bring sunshine to a gloomy day. One example is when she cleared the sky for the firework display, and she really felt the payoff for that. That was when she first talked about how she enjoyed bringing people joy and she enjoyed being the Sunshine Girl. We also got to see how it made lots of people happy, and that in turn made her happy and made Hodaka happy. As the story goes on, we realize that it's not all happy and that Hina, every time she uses her power, she slowly becomes drained. And it's affecting her health, and even so, later on, we realize that for the rain to go away, Hina has to be sacrificed. But that was what made the story so captivating, that it wasn't all just an endless rise, that each time something good happened, something bad would follow it. It was really a roller coaster ride and it kept you guessing. The characters in Weathering with You are really interesting, and I really enjoyed seeing how each of them developed through the movie. A lot of the time in movies you don't see a lot of development because they're short, but we really did see some development in this movie, I have to say. Hodaka is a character who came from a small island and ran away to Tokyo. Now we don't really know why he ran away. All we know is that he felt really trapped in his island, and when he came to Tokyo, he was given that freedom that he was longing for. Now, Hodaka doesn't find it easy when he first comes to Tokyo. He's not given any help, and he's just trying to live on what little money he has. And since he's still in school, he's still young, and he doesn't have ID, he's not really able to find any jobs, so he's not able to make money. But even though he's faced with so much difficulty and hardship, he stays determined. He does not give up. He's like, I'm staying in Tokyo, there's no way I'm going back. And it's really admirable to see, to be honest. Hina is also similar to Haruka in the way that she's had a tough life. Her mother passed away and her dad was not around, so she was left to fend for herself and her brother. She is young, but she's not able to go to school because she's just trying to make a living for her and her brother. But even though she's been faced with hardship like Haruka, she stays positive and cheerful, and it's hard to believe that this character can stay happy when anyone else in this situation could be just lost. One example is when we see Hina give Haruka a free burger after seeing him order the same thing for a few days and realizing that he needs it. And that shows her kindness and her empathy, which is shown again throughout the whole movie. I think that really tells us what kind of character Hina is. My favorite character personally, although I loved Hina and Haruka, I have to say that Nagi, Hina's younger brother, is my favorite character. When we're first introduced to him, we see him on a bus and he's switching between two girls. So one comes on as the other leaves and he starts chatting to each one. I really enjoyed seeing his character. At first I thought he was just a womanizer and that was it. But then as we go on, we see that he's much more than that. He's actually very mature, more so than Haruka, I could say, and wise. And that's why Haruka comes about to call him sensei. I quite like that. And we also see how big of a heart he has, how much he cares about Hina and would do anything for her. And he cares for Haruka too because Hina cares about him and because of the way that he has changed Hina's life. Shown later on when he helps Haruka get to Hina and bring her back. And I really liked his character. He was very funny to watch as well. Another character is Suga, who kind of acts a bit of a father figure to Haruka early on in the movie. He takes him in and gives him a job at KNA, gives him food, money, and the reason he does this is because he sees Haruka in himself. Like, Haruka reminds him of his younger self, and that's why he decides to help him. And I think that's really sweet and nice, and I liked seeing that go on. But then as the movie progressed, Suga became less of a great character in my eyes, which I will go on to talk about. Lastly is Natsume, who we first are alluded to think that she is Suga's mistress, but actually she turns out to be his niece, and she works with him. She's very accepting to Haruka from the beginning. There were also a few plot twists in the movie, including Hina's age. So at the beginning, we're thought that Hina is actually an adult, so she's 16 years old, and the oldest of the three main characters, Hina, Haruka, and Nagi. This fact kind of allows Haruka to let her take on the lead, kind of, and to rest the burden and responsibility mainly on her. But then when we find out later on that Hina is actually younger than Haruka, this changes the way that Haruka thinks. And it comes as a big shock for him because it turns out that he was actually the oldest and he should have been taking care of them rather than Hina taking care of him. Another kind of plot twist you could say is Suga's change throughout the movie. So at first he's really welcoming to Haruka, but then as soon as he is shown with a little difficulty, as soon as he's accused of kidnapping Haruka, to my surprise, he kicks him out. And I did not expect that, I did not like that, and that's what made me not like his character. But then throughout the movie we see him kind of change ways, so at one point he's helping Haruka get to Hina, and at the other point he's bringing the police to them. I could say in the end of the movie though, he did help Haruka, and we see him at the end happy and his company developed and trying to win custody over his daughter. Another thing was when we found out that Hina had to be a sacrifice. In a perfect world, she could keep bringing sunshine and it wouldn't affect her in any way, and Tokyo rain would eventually clear up. But not in this movie, no. What has to happen is that she has to sacrifice herself to bring sunshine to Tokyo, and we see her do that. But what makes it so realistic is that she doesn't accept it. She's actually broken and scared and sad, and she doesn't want to end up this way. And we see that when she follows Haruka down back to the ground when he comes to save her, and she accepts that this will end up with bringing rain to Tokyo, but she wants to live her life. Now, one thing that I really loved about Weathering With You is something that could only happen because it was directed by Makoto Shinkai, and that was the cameos of Mitsuha and Taki. Now, Mitsuha and Taki are two characters from Your Name, which I loved, and to see them in another movie was really nice. Mitsuha only had a small part in which she helped Haruka kind of pick out a present for Hina. But Taki, on the other hand, were introduced to his grandma along with him, and it's actually during one of Hina's jobs. I really liked Taki and Mitsuha's characters, and seeing them again, it really made me happy. Another cameo, which I'm not sure a lot of people might have noticed or cared about, was the kind of Pretty Cure cameo. Pretty Cure was an anime that I saw as a child. It's a big part of my childhood. It was before I even knew what anime was. I really enjoyed it. I just saw it on the TV and I really enjoyed it. And so during one of Hina's jobs, we see these two girls cosplaying as the two characters from Pretty Cure. Bringing something from your childhood makes it really nostalgic, and so it really added something to the movie. It really stood out to me. The final thing I want to talk about in this movie is the music. In every good anime, there has to be a good soundtrack. It's how it works. Animes need to have good soundtracks. They need to build the emotion and fit to the scenes, and Weathering With You had that to the T. The music was composed by RADWIMPS, who also did the Your Name soundtrack, and I love their music. Every song had a purpose and fit so well with the scene. For example, the scene where Haruka and Hina are coming down from the sky and they're holding hands and there's all this build of emotion, a song called Grand Escape plays, and it's sort of the theme tune to Weathering With You now. And it's beautiful. The piano at the start, which kind of reminds you of the rain, which is a big part of the story. How the tempo of the music keeps increasing until it gets to the point where it's just like, boom, this is the song. The RADWIMPS did an amazing job, as I expected them to, and their soundtrack for Weathering With You is one that is on repeat constantly right now. Weathering With You has those kind of songs where you wish you knew Japanese so you could sing along. So overall, Weathering With You was a really good movie in my opinion. I really enjoyed it, every single moment, and it was that kind of movie where you come out and you just want to go see it all over again. Everything about it fit so well together. The music, the animation, the characters, the story, everything was perfect. The story really touched hearts, it was emotional, I will say I cried, and it shows you love in a different way. I can't recommend this movie enough, though I hope you've already seen it, or else you've just been spoiled really bad. But if you haven't seen it and you watch this video, go see it right now. I really applaud Makoto Shinkai, he's a legend for making this movie. I can't wait to see what else he comes up with. So, thank you for watching my video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like it and comment, subscribe to my channel, where I will hopefully be making more videos. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments and we can chat about it, because I love it being two-way. I want to know what you guys thought of the movie too. And if there are any anime that you would like me to review, please let me know and I will get to it. And so until the next video, bye!